dusty mining town of Virginia City, Nevada, in the year 1868, William A. Clark was a charismatic silver magnate known for both his wealth and his insatiable ambition that seemed to know no bounds. Clark had ascended to prominence during the legendary Comstock Lode silver rush, riding the wave of fortune that had transformed the barren Nevada landscape into a land of opportunity and excess. But many knew him for something darker, a series of questionable dealings that included bribes paid to politicians and lawmen alike, political manipulation that bent the very fabric of local government to his will, and even violence against those who dared to challenge his authority. His rise was a tale of riches marred by imminent danger, a story of a man who would stop at nothing to achieve his goals. If you're fascinated by the dark side of the Wild West, subscribe now to uncover more untold stories of power, greed, and corruption from America's frontier. The backdrop of Virginia City at the time was chaotic and electric with possibility. Entrepreneurs and fortune seekers flocked to the booming area from all corners of the country and beyond, drawn by the irresistible promise of silver that seemed to flow endlessly from the mountains. Clark, however, had a powerful adversary, a formidable rival named John W. Mackay, a savvy businessman with his own mining empire, who threatened to eclipse Clark's influence and wealth. As tensions escalated between these two titans of industry, Clark sought to solidify his influence through any means necessary, vowing to eliminate anyone who stood in his way, whether through intimidation, financial ruin, or worse. On a fateful night in July, under a sky filled with stars that seemed oblivious to the darkness brewing below, Clark attended a lavish party celebrating the latest silver strike that had enriched so many in the community. As the moon hung high above the Sierra Nevada mountains, he glimmered in his finest finery, dressed in expensive suits imported from San Francisco, yet a storm brewed beneath the polished exterior of his brow. That evening, as champagne flowed and laughter filled the air, Mackay vanished without a trace, kidnapped amidst the turmoil and celebration. The town buzzed with rumors and speculation. Could Clark be involved in such a brazen act? The question hung heavy in the air like the dust from the mines. Unraveling the conspiracy was no easy task in a town where loyalty could be bought and silence was often the safest course. Whispers of collusion between local law enforcement and Clark's cadre of enforcers spread like wildfire through the saloons and mining camps. A group of brave miners, men who had worked shoulder to shoulder in the darkness of the earth and knew the value of solidarity, banded together, determined to uncover the truth no matter the personal cost. They questioned witnesses in hushed tones, followed leads through treacherous mountain paths, tracing Mackay's last known whereabouts to a secretive cabin hidden in the hills, which was rumored to be a hideout for criminals in Clark's employ. Before we reveal what the miners discovered, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the shocking conclusion of this Wild West mystery. As the miners closed in on the cabin, moving cautiously through the pine trees and rocky terrain, a clandestine meeting in the dead of night revealed the full extent of the betrayal. Inside the cabin, dimly lit by oil lamps and reeking of tobacco and whiskey, they discovered damning evidence, documents detailing greenbacks exchanged for silence, ledgers showing payments to corrupt officials, and threats written in Clark's own hand against those who might speak out. Just as they began piecing together the intricate puzzle of the conspiracy, gunfire suddenly erupted from within the shadows, a trap carefully set to silence them forever and protect Clark's secrets. With raw courage born of desperation and righteousness, the miners fought back against their attackers, but were outmatched by professional gunmen who had been lying in wait. They escaped into the night, some wounded but all alive, vowing to expose Clark's brutal machinations to the world no matter what it took. Word reached the vigilant San Francisco Chronicle, an outlet eager to expose the criminal underbelly of the West and shine light into its darkest corners. As news spread across telegraph wires and in newspaper headlines, public outrage mounted against Clark, and his once unassailable reputation began to crack. Mackay, presumed dead by most and mourned by many, had been held captive in a remote location high in the mountains, enduring months of captivity and unspeakable treatment. When he finally emerged months later, battered and weakened yet miraculously alive, he sought justice with a vengeance that matched the suffering he had endured. The community rallied around their fallen hero, and an official investigation was launched by authorities who could no longer ignore the mounting evidence and public pressure. If this story of justice in the Old West is gripping you, subscribe and share this video with anyone who loves true crime history. Clark, facing mounting pressure and external scrutiny from both the press and federal authorities, used his extensive political connections to wage war against the miners and any dissenters who dared to speak against him. He called in favors from senators and judges, threatened witnesses, and attempted to buy his way out of trouble as he had done so many times before. Yet the truth had a power of its own that could not be suppressed by money or influence. Relentless and filled with the righteous spirit of revenge, the miners sought to turn the tide against the corruption that had plagued their community for too long. They gathered evidence against Clark methodically and carefully, building an ironclad case, igniting trials that would rock Virginia City to its very core and expose the rot at the heart of its government. During the tense court hearings that stretched over weeks, tales of greed, betrayal, and rampant corruption spilled forth from witness after witness, making it abundantly clear the silver rush that had built this town was stained with the blood of its dreamers and the broken bodies of those who had been crushed beneath the wheels of progress. In a gripping climax at the courthouse, with the gallery packed with miners, businessmen, and curious onlookers, Clark's empire began to crumble as damning testimonies mounted one after another. Fearing for his life and the complete destruction of his legacy, and seeing that even his money could not save him this time, he fled into the night under cover of darkness, abandoning his mansion and his holdings. Though Clark was never formally convicted due to his flight and the limitations of frontier justice, the story of McKay's abduction and the subsequent trials transformed the landscape of power in the mining community forever. Don't forget to subscribe to hear more incredible stories of justice, betrayal, and survival from the American frontier. In the weeks following Clark's dramatic escape, his name faded into infamy, spoken in whispers as a cautionary tale of ambition gone wrong, while McKay's miraculous survival cemented his status as a hero among the miners and working people of Virginia City. Virginia City, once ruled with an iron fist by the wealthy elite who controlled every aspect of life in the town, had turned a corner, a small but significant victory for justice in a world overshadowed by greed and the ruthless pursuit of wealth. Ultimately, the events surrounding the fate of a missing Silver King revealed the dark undercurrents of ambition, betrayal, and the eternal fight for truth in America's untamed frontier, reminding future generations that even in the lawless West, justice could sometimes prevail when brave individuals stood together against tyranny. Thank you for watching this dramatic tale from the Wild West. Subscribe now for more shocking true stories from America's frontier history. Hit that notification bell and we'll see you in the next one.